and welcome back to the Muppet Vlog. Now, this time we're going to be looking into the 18th episode of Season 5 of The Muppet Show, which features Marty Feldman. Now, just in case you don't know, Marty Feldman is very well recognized as a comedian and an actor. Now, due to a bad surgery for his Graves' disease, he ended up being cross-eyed for the rest of his life, where one eye looks differently than the other. They're not like parallel and they don't go in the same direction. However, that is not going to stop him to express his amazing comedic talents, where he would go and appear in numerous of his own comedy TV shows. But the one thing that I would say about him is that his most well-known performance is to play as Igor in Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein. That would be the one role that anybody can recognize him in. Now, going into the episode that he appeared on The Muppet Show, this one is actually very interesting, because this is the one that just capped everything off. This is the last episode that aired for The Muppet Show, where Gene Kelly was the last one to be filmed. This is the last one to be aired, and you do have a sense that they decided to do something a little bit special for this one, and to elevate from the rest of the episodes. You see, this is one of those special episodes where the theme goes into this one big story, or a string of several stories in this case, because all of it is based on 1001 Nights, where the whole thing that's going on is that Marty Feldman would actually play as Scheherazade. Okay. Man, I just had a little bit of my Porky Pig moment right there. Marty Feldman played the he was playing the narrator, while the Swedish chef would play as the Caliph, the one that Marty Feldman had to tell the stories to. And he would go and explain several of the more, well, just a handful of the well-known stories from 1001 Nights, including Sinbad the Sailor, Aladdin, and Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. But of course, there is a bit of a Muppet twist to it. Now, these stories are pretty much very, very short, and considering that it is a variety show, most, like all of them, they don't focus specifically on the story. They're just there to present a little song and a comedic bit at the same time. Like, for example, with the story of Sinbad the Sailor, Kermit and his crew of frogs would try to go and steal treasure from an evil genie, played by Sweetums, but then they end up singing Surfin' USA. Or another example would be Gonzo would find the lamp, since he plays Aladdin, and he becomes a sultan and he watches these chickens dancing in a Persian market. And those are just a few other examples, and also the big one, which is at the end, where Ali Baba is played by a Muppet version of Marty Feldman, and then suddenly Fozzie Bear and two other bears come in, because apparently due to budget cuts it can only be Ali Baba and the 3 Thieves, which there is a bit of confusion, because at one point it was Ali Baba and the 3 Bears. But then suddenly it just cuts to a grand finale when Fozzie learned that apparently at the end the thieves would get cooked in hot oil. Now, there are a few other bits that happen as well, where you got Marty Feldman and Sam the Eagle do this little sketch where Marty would play as both Wilbur and Orville Wright. They're just both the same person. It's just like this one guy with 2 names, and he wanted to sell Sam a flying carpet. Now, I'm not going to reveal the joke or spoil anything, but you'll see for yourselves. But then what ends up happening is that they would all, like, just a bunch of random Muppets would come in and sing the Laughing Policeman with Marty Feldman. And then there's also one little bit that happened in the middle called Girlfriend of the Whirling Dervish, which is pretty much this little Arabic extra number that happened. This is the UK spot that they would just take out from the US airings, so that doesn't necessarily matter too much. But the only other thing I guess I could say right now is that right at the end, when Fozzie did learn that like the thieves would die, so Fozzie just immediately goes into the grand finale. Now everybody is just singing a hot time in the old town tonight. And this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, by the way. Like, after Fozzie Bear would say, "Open Sesame," to open the door for the second time, suddenly you have some of the crew from Sesame Street to come out, and everybody was singing, like, the main theme song to Sesame Street. And in there, you do have some of the Sesame Street characters. I think I do have a bit of a list. Yeah, I have the list right here. Like, it isn't much. Like, you don't have all of them. What you have is that you got 2 extra Muppets. You got Cookie Monster, you got Ernie and Bert, you got Grover, and you got the Count. Like, they just came in and have a little bit of a cameo. They don't have much of a significance in this episode in particular. It's not like last time, like in one of the very first episodes, you had Ernie and Bert in one bit. Or it's not like the one where Big Bird came in and he was one of the main special guest stars with, I believe, is it Leslie Uggams? I believe it's with Leslie Uggams, but anyways, if it's not, then I'll just go correct myself. If I'm right, then I'm not going to do anything, and I'll take good credit to have a good memory on Muppets. But anyways, going into this, going more into it, I do have to say that it definitely is a really fun episode. It definitely was one of the more funnier episodes, and a big element to why it really was funny is because of the special guest star, Martin Freeman. Considering that he is the narrator, and he's a little bit of the engine that would go and, you know, he would tell the story, but also be involved with it, where he would bring in his own special brand of humor. And it really does make it a lot of fun to watch. And it actually does blend very well with the Muppet humor that is already established. So you do get this unique combination of just fun, goofy, silly comedy. And it really does make a fun, enjoyable episode to watch throughout. Now, if I do have one piece of criticism that I would have in this episode in particular, is mostly the factor that they would just zoom on by to all the episodes, well, not the episodes, but like all the little stories. Like, they don't just stick to just one of the Arabic tales. Like, they just go to Sinbad and then immediately cut to Aladdin and then immediately cut to Alibaba. Like, honestly, with this kind of episode and what the Muppets would normally do, it would have probably worked out well if they just focus on one of the stories, if they just focus on either Aladdin or something like Sinbad. That way, I mean, the 1001 Night Tales, they're already short enough, so it would have been perfect for them to go and adapt one of the stories, but they pretty much went on by a little too quick. And I get the, like, it doesn't feel like it's a bit of an adaptation of 1001 Nights, kind of like what they did with Alice in Wonderland or Robin Hood. This one is more like the theme is the classic Arabic tales. So that would just be my one small piece of criticism. But other than that, it's still great. So overall, it's definitely a fantastic episode, and I would probably say that it is a highlight of the season, really. This is definitely one of the funnier episodes, and this is a huge, like a huge thanks to Marty Feldman for giving his great comedic talent onto this. It really was a lot of fun to watch. And you know, like, the whole theme of the Arabic tales, like, even though it probably could have been handled a little bit better, it's still a lot of fun to watch. So this is one of my high recommendations to go see if you really want to have a good time. And if you are familiar with the works of Marty Feldman, like, rather it be just with Young Frankenstein or maybe even more than that, then this is definitely an episode worth checking out. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this episode of the Muppet Vlog. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. And we will see that they will move back from Arabia to the Muppet Theater. And we'll see what other other crazy what crazy shenanigans that the Muppets will have in store for us. But we will only know until next time, so see you later, dudes!